remarks as we wait for the tallies for the B2B buyers and sellers intends to trade that have been signed. So after Mr. Masila has spoken, we'll also hear from Agra. So Nega, the head of markets and trade at Agra, will be making closing remarks on behalf of Agra. And then we'll have Trademark Africa. So from Trademark Africa, and on behalf of Elibariki Shami, who I believe will be represented by Matthews Wanjala, will be making closing remarks on behalf of Trademark Africa. So I request that we take our seats. And Gerald Masila, if you can hear me, the floor is yours. Meanwhile, if you haven't provided your intents to trade forms, we'd like to make sure that we don't miss you out in the analysis, because we'd like to follow through, and like Nelvin presented earlier, we are keen to actualize the trade discussions that you've had and the intents that you've signed for trade. So let's ensure that we haven't forgotten the forms, the intents forms that we have signed. We need to give them to the team that is doing the tally there. I'm sure you're seeing a table that is very busy, surrounded by colleagues of EAGC. So let's give our intents to trade there if you have forgotten to hand in your intents to trade. Let's settle in. Let's settle in so that we close. So if we settle in, I believe in the next 15 minutes, we should be done. And we call it a day. And so it's been a 2-day exciting engagement with policymakers, with industry associations, with private sector. And so we've had the market linkages and the intents to trade through the B2B. So shortly we'll be hearing the findings and the outcomes of the intents to trade. And we are very keen, and together with the government officials in the room, the trade facilitation agencies, they are very, very keen to hear, and they're eager to hear what has come out of the intents to trade B2B market linkages, so that then we can follow through together for actualization. And so our government officials will be very much anticipating to facilitate that trade through the borders. And we can only achieve this together if we work collaboratively. So let's settle in. Thank you very much that we are coming in so that we can finish strong and finish together. So let's take our seats. And like I mentioned, this should not take us more than 15 minutes. We'll just be straight to the point. We'll conclude just with the key takeaways of the 2 days, so that then, even as we leave here, then we know what is the direction that we are taking from here, and how do we keep the conversation active from this forum onwards. So I'm sure that will be very, very key, because we have to keep the conversation going, and we also need to get the outcomes of the B2B, because those are intents to trade, and so trade needs to happen. And for trade to happen, we need to follow through on those interests that buyers and sellers have indicated. And I've also discovered that we've made friends. Beyond just signing intents to trade as buyers and sellers, we've made friends across borders, because we are one and the same people, just separated by borders. So that was quite amazing, that now we know more people than we did before we came in. So thank you for heeding to our call when we called out for you to join us for this 2-day public-private policy dialogue and the regional business-to-business engagements. So I see Matthews, welcome. So let's settle in. Let's settle in. I'm sure you can hear me, those that are outside. Let's settle in so that we can close together. So as I said, we shall have closing remarks from the Executive Director, Gerald Masila. So Gerald, as soon as you're ready, just let me know. Not really. It doesn't seem that the analysis is done. So yeah, I think we have quorum. So we will now proceed to the closing remarks. And as the closing remarks will be ongoing, we will get the tallies of the intents to trade, what commodities, what volumes, movement, maybe from where to where, so that then we know from here what kind of volumes do we need to actualize. And we agreed that it's important that trade needs to happen freely, and countries with commodity needs to make it as easy as possible for countries without commodity to access commodity, for food security to happen. So in a minute or two, we should be closing. I see we have, thank you very much for coming back. In a minute or two, we'll be closing. I'd like to give this opportunity. I'd like to give this opportunity to Nega from AGRA, the heads of market and trade, to give us closing remarks from AGRA. And Nega will invite Matthews Wanjala from Trademark Africa also to give us closing remarks on behalf of Trademark as we continue towards concluding. Welcome, Nega. Let's give him a clap as he's coming. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, Nega.
Thank you, Jacinta. It's already late and everybody's tired. I'm not going to make a long speech. I just would like to thank especially EAGC for successfully organizing this event. I would like especially to thank Jacinta, Gerald and the rest of his team. Really, this has been a very successful event. You've been able to pull in a very short time this large number of participants from public, private sector, and also from a number of countries. So really thank you for that. We have more or less accomplished the purpose that we gathered here today, basically to address some of the outstanding barriers to trade that's preventing the flow of food from the surplus to these deficit countries that have been affected by the drought. And we have also talked about a number of outstanding issues, talked about the importance of trade in generating economic growth and jobs and for the future of Africa. One of the things also we were looking to get some ideas from this conference was, basically a validation of that study we presented this morning. And yesterday we talked about the Coalition for Trade for Africa, how we can better strengthen this platform with active participation of its partners and members. I have not seen the summarized result, but I'm sure we have received a lot of input from a lot of people, how we can strengthen the platform. So from our side, I think we are very happy that we have achieved what we expected to get from this. And also, I don't know how much deal has happened this afternoon, but I'm sure a number of you have made important deals for import and export from the people gathered here. So without further ado, I would like to invite Matthew Wanjala from Trademark Africa, one of our key partners, to provide his remark. So I would like to wish you a successful and completion of this and a safe trip back to your countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Niga, and thank you, colleagues from EAGC, AGRA, and all the partners who are here today. I'll also not be very long because I understand time is really gone and we need to, finish the closing ceremony. I think I just want to mention that Trademark Africa is part of this conversation. We came up with this idea together with AGRA and EAGC to facilitate this forum, to bring together the public sector, the private sector, to have a conversation around how we can be able to facilitate trade in the region in a way that can bring together the key movers and shakers as far as food production, food production, food trade, and particularly around policy, public sector support is concerned. The second thing we're keen on is to also ensure that we can play a role in terms of ensuring that there's food trade happening, that we can bring the supply and the market together and provide the necessary accommodation and conditions for them to be able to do trade. And we are happy that this afternoon, that's exactly what's happening. Please keep talking. I think closing the ceremony doesn't mean that you end your discussions around the deals. Exchange conducts, I mentioned this in the morning, and please, if you are interested in buying or selling any of the commodities to any of us here, either at the current public sector level, private sector, please ensure that you pick your contacts. We also have our business cards. If you come, we can be able to share our contacts with you so that we can continue talking about this even beyond today. So Trademark Africa, we have offices across Africa. We have the main office in Nairobi, which is the head office, but we have other 14 country offices across Africa. We are here just a few meters from here in Dar. We are in Rwanda, we are in Burundi, we are in Malawi, Zambia, for South Africa. We are in DRC, both in Goma as well as Kinshasa. We are in Uganda, we are in Djibouti, we are in Lagos, we are in Ghana, we are in Somaliland, Ethiopia, and many other countries. And in this kind of conversation, the program that we had today and from yesterday is under ERA, Economic Recovery and Reform Activity, which is a USAID funded program that is focusing on three things, as you heard yesterday. The first one is strengthening farm organizations to be able to deliver their products to the market. The second one is working with SMEs, both traders and millers, to facilitate their competitiveness and make sure that they can be able to engage in trade in a way that is facilitative. And then the third one is just the whole ecosystem around trade policy and trade environment, just to ensure that we provide a conducive environment for trade to happen. We are happy that we had an opportunity yesterday to validate the report that was done by Fred. That's one of the outputs from EAGC, and some of the recommendations that you gave, some of the recommendations that came from that report are going to form part of our takeaway. And in the next 2-3 years, I think that's going to be our main focus in terms of just strengthening the food sector in the region. Finally, we are going to join the food trade. We are going to strengthen the food trade coalition that you heard about yesterday from Protas. And that is going to give us a platform to engage with you even more frequently, more regularly, because we believe that by supporting that kind of engagement, we are going to ease the challenges and the constraints in food production as well as food trade in the region. Let me take this opportunity to thank EAGC, I think, for really playing the role of convening this forum and just doing everything that they did to ensure that we have a successful 2 days. I think let's clap for Jacinda and Gerald and everybody else at EAGC. And we want to thank you, Gerald, and your team. I think you have put in a lot more. You have done a lot in terms of really pre-event, during the event, and we also look forward to have a report and all the other documentation that goes with that. And hopefully you can also be able to invest a little bit more to just make a follow-up and ensure that some of the deals that we have discussed today come to a successful conclusion. Thank you, Agra. Pass our regards to your colleagues in the office. That we are happy with this partnership, and we are looking forward to even many more engagements. Finally, thank you, everybody, all colleagues from across the region, from Kenya, Uganda, DRC, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Burundi, Malawi, Zambia, Tanzania, of course, the hosts. Another country I've left out, I think. Yeah, so you guys, you sacrificed. I know you are busy people, both government and private sector. Giving us 2 of your days, I think, is a great honor, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you. Travel safely as you go back home tomorrow or tonight, and hope to engage one more time in future. Thanks, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Another clap, please. Another clap. We appreciate that AGRA and Trademark, you're keen to follow through in collaboration with us and the stakeholders in the room to follow through the discussions and the engagements that have come out of these 2 days. And so that is, thank you for hand-holding us. And we will continue to collaborate and keep the conversation active and let trade happen. So I will now hand over the floor to the Executive Director, Gerald Masila, for closing remarks. And while he will be doing that, he will also quickly invite the Ministries of Trade and Agriculture, as well as East Africa Community, to say something just very quick. Thank you, and welcome, Gerald.
A clap for Jacinta, our MC. She's been a very effective MC, I believe. So we come to the end of the 2-day public-private policy dialogue and business-to-business forum for grain trade business. When we came here yesterday, we shared our objectives of why we are coming, and we had, I would imagine, just one main objective: to make trade to happen. And so the policy creates the way for the trade to happen, and then the private sector actors do the trade. They are the ones who put the money, they are the ones who produce the product and do all the trading. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a good 2 days, very, very engaging. People have been very alert. Here we've stretched long days, we've shared, and it even feels like the time was not enough, but I think we've done extremely well. And so before I give the closing remarks that I have in summary and to say what next in terms of next steps, allow me to invite on stage, we give him a minute or so to greet us and also at least affirm to us that the EAC, the East Africa Community Secretariat, which is, they say it is people, private sector driven and people centered. Yeah? And also private sector, we are talking about trade and business. So please do come forward, Mr. Ramadan Mfalme, to give us some greetings from the EAC. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. My name is Ramadan Mfaume. I'm Senior Standard Officer from East Africa Community Secretariat. On behalf of Director of Trade from the East Africa Community Secretariat, I would like to thank Eastern Africa Grain Council for inviting us to this meeting, and also to thank Trademark Africa for the support. As the East Africa Community Secretariat, we affirm our commitment in cooperating with the East Africa Grain Council in ensuring that the free trade of grain within the region. We do understand that the business of grain within the region is facing some few challenges, and as a community, we have developed a number of framework to handle this situation. For instance, recently we have developed EAC framework to facilitate cross-border trade of food, prepackaged foods. This framework has been approved and is operational. So I urge the traders of the grain to make use of this. One of the principles of this framework is the mutual recognition and the use of the certification mark. So once the food product is certified by one partner state, then it can move from one partner state to another without any further testing. So with these few remarks, once again, thank you, East Africa Grain Council, for inviting us. Thank you.
A clap for the EAC. Do pass our regards to the leadership there and much appreciation. From the Ministry of Industry and Trade in the United Republic of Tanzania, Milton Manyara, economist, please do come forward. Is he in the room? Kindly come forward and give us some closing remarks from the host country. And we thank you very much for hosting us well.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Milton Manyara, an economist from the Ministry of Industry and Trade. First of all, I want to thank the EAGC, TIMEA, and AGRA for organizing this wonderful event. It has been a very fruitful meeting where we have had fruitful discussions to make sure we do foster interregional trade. On behalf of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, I would like to recognize the participation that you have engaged in this workshop, and I want to assure you that all the things that you have raised here, we have well taken, and we are going to work upon to make sure trade between East African countries, African countries, it's done smoothly. In addition to that, we as Tanzanian, we still have a lot to do with trade. As of now, we have recently finished the review of the trade policy, which is a very important document for governing the trade sector. And now we're working on the export-import strategy, which all these are very imperative to fostering trade between Tanzania and neighboring countries. In my conclusion, I would like again to thank all of you for attending this wonderful event. And when you're leaving here back to your home countries, please, before you depart, make sure you do something for Tanzania economy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You are being asked to do something for the Tanzania economy. I believe our presence being here is doing a lot of something for the Tanzania economy, so thank you very much. So he has spoken on behalf of our hosts, including even the Ministry of Agriculture, and we also recognize the presence of Dr. Abel Mtembeji. He welcomed us yesterday, so thank you very much. And now we give this special chance to the Republic of Uganda, the Warehouse Receipt Systems Authority, Madam Deborah, to come and greet us from the PAL. She, being the CEO of the authority and with all the work happening, including even in the Northern Corridor, we truly want to appreciate your presence, and thank you very much, and invite you to give us some closing remarks.
Thank you very much, my brother, Gerard. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Deborah Charasime, Uganda Warehouse Receipt System Authority, and I'd like to extend our appreciation as Uganda Warehouse Receipt System Authority and Uganda for the invitations. Thank you, EAGC, thank you, TMA, and the bees. Two things for me. One, as governments, as institutions of government, our job is simple. Facilitate, support, enhance, handhold, do whatever it takes to ensure that trade actually happens. The second one is regulate how that trading is happening so that everyone is a winner. I want to commit on behalf of Uganda Warehouse Receipt System Authority, the efforts we are right now undertaking with our bees back home will continue supporting you and make you better. And I want to demystify the issue of the fear for being regulated. To be regulated is to be enhanced, not to be punished or be penalized. And I would like to call upon the other institutions and governments across Africa to do the same. You support B, yeah, and then you prepare them for taxation or other nice things that governments do with the business community. Want to thank you, Tanzania, for the hospitality. Our brothers from Zambia, you can always count on us for food and very safe and sustainable supplies of good food. I want to thank you all, EAGC. When are we signing the MOU?
Immediately.
We can sign the back end and then.
Yes, then fill the others.
Yeah, thank you very much all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A clap for Madam Deborah from the Uganda Warehouse Receipt Systems Authority. Thank you very much. So now in closing, we came here to look at how we can make trade happen, address the various issues that hamper export trade, including the trade restrictions, crossing the borders, logistics and all that. We were able to engage a lot with all the 9 countries that were present here. We did discuss and got a lot of feedback on strengthening and reconstituting the sector platform. And we had an opportunity for business-to-business networking, matchmaking opportunities between suppliers, producers, aggregators, exporters on the demand side, and the buyers on the other side. My team are still number crunching to be able to tell us what volume have we been able to sign and of what value. I think they're still doing those numbers. I'm not sure whether we will be ready with the numbers today, but even if we are not ready with them today, in the communique that we are going to circulate in the next few days, we will present that summary statistics of all the commodities you have signed up, their value, the source, the destination, because we'll be following up with you. So, and indeed that was the objective. We came here so that we can have this public policy, public-private policy dialogue, and we have dialogued, and we are very glad from government. We had one word after the other, commitment, support to make the private sector thrive, to make them do the business and to support it. And for that, we really want to thank you, colleagues from the public sector, from the regulatory agencies and bodies. And we are taking you for your word, and because you have told us you will support us, then we will not fear to sign, to commit, to put money, to exchange the contracts and so on and so forth. So for those to appreciate the government colleagues that are here, let's clap for them very much and tell them that we are very encouraged by the work. And indeed, as we saw them speak to us here, you could tell that they are talking from their hearts and they mean well and they are keen to support and get the solutions. And I know from the, the energies we've seen, I think we are opening a new chapter. And thank you very much, colleagues from public sector. We will be engaging with you. We cannot take any walk in trade without you, because you are, critical partners with us in this process. So to the private sector colleagues that have been with us here, who came, who accepted the invitation, who have been with us all through the 2 days, without you, private sector, then there won't be any trade happening. So we want to thank you for making time to come. We want to also commit, just like government, that from EAGC, from Trademark, from AGRA, from all our support partners, we will work with you in supporting the process. Trademark already shared their remarks, and AGRA, and we want to thank them very, very much. Now, going forward, we are going to, like I said, summarize all the proceedings of these 2 days into a communique. In that communique, we will feature everything from the state of play, from the panel discussions, from the recommendations to the summary of what has come from them. And we will also include the short side event that we have had with the policymakers, where we have had a very, very fruitful consultation, and which summarized basically 3 key points. One, we again reiterated the commitment that we all want trade to happen. So it is in everybody's interest for trade to happen. Two, we have said, and the regulatory agencies have told us they will work with us, support us to make the buying, the selling happen in a very structured manner, and they will continue working with us so that we achieve that. And we have agreed that we need to communicate, we need to talk with each other. And so the sector platform that we have created, we agreed that we'll have a module within that sector platform that will be specifically a platform, a space for the regulatory agencies to also engage and see what's happening from the rest, and for them to also share a lot of, share information and share everything around that. So going forward, we will still do what it takes to get the grain trading happening, and we are all agreeing that governments make policies that make trade, make it possible for trade to happen. They make it possible for trade to happen, paraphrasing one of the earlier speakers, but it is the private sector that make the trade happen. So government makes it possible, but private sector makes it happen, and that's the spirit that we are carrying out of this engagement. Finally, the numbers, like I said, are still being number crunched. But let me read for you the initial data that is coming up from what has happened in the B2B. We have top 5 commodities, top being maize, followed by soybeans, followed by beans, common beans, followed by rice, and surprisingly, wheat is also there, has made it in the top 5. So you have signed contracts amounting to 336,000 metric tons of maize, valued at $117 million US, if you get to trade maize. Soybean, you have contracted 222,790 metric tons of soybean, valued at $133 million, if we make it to do the trade to actualize. Beans, we have signed agreements of 106,000 metric tons, valued at $88 million, if we make to get those beans to move across the borders. If we make them move across the borders. Rice, 20,000 metric tons, valued at 24 million shillings. Wheat, 800 tons, valued at $364,000 US, quite significant. In total volume, just under 500,000 tons, and just under $400 million, just here, the people who are here. So a big clap for all of us that we've been able to commit, and that's just the top 5. We will, in our reporting, list everything, but then this trade will only happen if we can cross the borders. And if the trucks carrying these commodities will not be converted to be automated teller machines that just go stopping and collecting, being harassed and all that sort of thing. So we will proceed with that, and we will share with this. And our agreement with Trademark, with AGRA, is that through the sector platform, we will make these engagements regular, possibly annual, so that and even rotational, so that we can have this opportunity to really have a focused discussion on grain trade. I know there are many other forums where many other things happen, but yesterday and today, we talked about nothing else other than grain trade, and now we'll go forward to make it happen. To my colleague at THGC, all my colleagues at THGC, thank you very much. These ladies and gentlemen you see have spent many hours preparing, finding your contacts, finding your emails, sending you your invitations, calling you to confirm, getting you your tickets, following you up to the airports, following you up to here. So a big thank you to the EHGC team for the great job that you have done, and they are going to work with you in actualizing the transactions. So you have all our contacts. Call us as you do actualizing the transactions. And we have received the telephone numbers of all these government officials, and they have all told us, if you have a challenge somewhere, call us, even if it's at midnight. I think they have given us the permission. So thank you very much. We will, from EAGC, be your partners, be your facilitators. We work with you, because to us, our performance measure, our measure of success is how the member business is doing. That's how we rate our performance. And maybe if government can also have that metrics and say, can we measure our performance based on how well private sector is doing? Maybe that might also change things. But for us at EAGC, we only consider success depending on how well our member is doing and all the challenges that we are able to resolve in the businesses affecting our members. So thank you very much. God bless you all. Another clap of appreciation to all of us. And to say from me, I declare the session closed, and thank you very much. You'll be hearing from us. So for logistics and other administrative things, I hand over to my colleague Jacinta. Thank you very much. And thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. We did a great job with ourselves, so we need to clap for our own selves, right? We've been clapping for others. Now let's clap for ourselves. So we clap in factorials, right? Let's do 5. We'll do 9, because in the room there are 9 countries represented. So we start with 9, we go 8, we go 7, all the way until 1. So anytime you're clapping, just know that you're recognizing and acknowledging that you had friends that you met from any of the 9 countries that were in the room. So we do it with passion and with enthusiasm so that we are finishing strong. So let's go. We are starting with 9 claps, then we go to 8 claps, 7, all the way to 1. So every time you're clapping, that number of times, remember you are clapping because you met new friends from any of the 9 countries. So let's go. So we're starting with 9. Good. Somebody missed it. We are going 8 now. 8. Okay. I think I'll start saying 1, 2, 3, and etc. Now we are doing 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Done. Good. Very good students. Now we are doing 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good students even. Now we are doing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And the last one, a big one. Thank you very much. We did well with ourselves. Now, the executive director has closed the meeting, so I will not start another one so that I'm not fired. I still need my job. So we are going to share the report on the proceedings of the event. We are going to have an English and French version, and we are going to work on Amharic for our friends from Ethiopia soon. We will also produce a event documentary from these engagements. We have heard you that we should not forget the key recommendations and the key outputs from this event. So we'll be picking sections of what has been shared to put together, and we come up with an event documentary which we can always go back and refer to form a basis for follow-up engagements from here on. We will also share edited photos so that we can also utilize them for our own memories and reporting for those of us that need to do reports to others, colleagues. And I know that there are colleagues who would like to get sections of the video, the raw footage where we recorded you maybe making a submission. So reach out to us. we can give you that raw clip so that you can maybe edit it to fit some intentions on your side. So that's something that we can also do on our side. So please reach out to us. We can get that to you. Now, with regards to logistics, starting off with airport transfers, let's check our tickets just to make sure that we have the flight timings right. Let's ensure that no one is left, because, for instance, if your flight is at 0900 hours in the morning, your pickups will be 3 hours before. So that will be 9 minus 3. So please get right your ticket timing, flight timings, and the time when you are supposed to go to the airport for your airport pickups. And we are encouraging carpooling. That's how we've done the airport transfers. So please, let's make sure we are not left behind, because if you are left behind, then it becomes very complicated and very difficult for us. And maybe it might have to become easy for you somehow at your own cost. So let's try and do carpooling. Let's check our flight timings, and let's be timely for the airport transfers. Visa. I know there are visa people who incurred visa costs, GoPass for those from DRC, and then meals. We have a colleague seated at the back in a blue shirt at the corner right there. So he's going to be facilitating that. So we are going to do it in some structured and orderly way. So we've been doing that for the DRC. Now we'll proceed to the Ethiopia team. After Ethiopia, we'll go to Zambia, then Malawi, then we go to Uganda, and then we go to Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and we will finish with Kenya. So Benedict is taking note of in the order in which we shall do that. And don't worry, he'll get backup support from the team that has been doing tallying of B2B results, so that we finish that quickly. So without further ado, I would like to just end it at that. I have been your moderator since yesterday morning, and my name is Jacinta Mwau, and looking forward to do this again and again and again, for as long as we have to do trade, and for as long as we are able to continue engaging on these kinds of conversations. So thank you very much, and very happy to see happy faces in the room. So let's keep that happy face, and let's make trade happen. Thank you, and have a good evening, everyone.